If you've been thinking of Australia's visa system in February 2026 as a grand competition where the most impressive applicant automatically wins, it's time to reconsider that idea. The system isn't operating like a showcase where the boldest resume earns applause and instant approval. It's not a scoreboard where piling up extra points automatically guarantees approval. High numbers alone don't magically open doors, and it certainly isn't influenced by how impressive your job title sounds when mentioned in conversation. Immigration decisions aren't made based on prestige or how sophisticated a role appears on paper. In February, the system feels far less glamorous and far more grounded in practical needs. There's no exclusive fast track for elite profiles, no excitement factor, no personality evaluation. It isn't measuring charm or status, it's assessing relevance, clarity, and real-world value. The system isn't trying to identify the most impressive personality or the most glamorous career path. It's not awarding visas based on who has the flashiest resume or the most exciting background. Instead, it's asking a far more practical question: who genuinely fits into the country's current workforce needs, and who can contribute without creating administrative or operational complications? Once you recognize that the focus has shifted from prestige to practicality, the broader patterns in Australia's visa system this month start to make sense. February 2026 isn't rewarding high-profile candidates, it's favoring low-friction ones. One thing has become very clear: applications that are simple, structured, and easy to assess are progressing faster. Not because decision-makers lack diligence, but because application volumes are high and efficiency matters. When your case presents a coherent narrative, a clearly defined occupation, verified demand, and a legitimate employer need, you immediately stand out in a positive way. On the other hand, a complicated profile, even with an impressive title, can slow everything down. Right now, Australia appears to favor candidates who align smoothly with existing frameworks, rather than those who require interpretation, exceptions, or additional justification. And that brings us to the real pattern emerging this year: the rise of overlooked, even underestimated occupations. Let's talk about the roles that rarely make headlines, but quietly keep entire systems functioning. First up, asset inspectors and condition assessors. These are the people who inspect bridges, buildings, rail assets, power infrastructure, and public facilities. Australia is spending aggressively on maintenance, not just new builds, and these roles are critical. They're also chronically underapplied for. If your job involves reports, compliance, safety standards, and making sure this doesn't collapse, you're suddenly very relevant. Next, supply chain schedulers and logistics planners. Not warehouse managers, not truck drivers, the planners, the people who keep food, medical supplies, and industrial inputs moving on time. Post-pandemic Australia learned a painful lesson about logistics, and it hasn't forgotten. These roles show up quietly in state demand lists, and they're moving faster than flashier tech jobs. Why trades with brains are beating pure professionals. Here's a pattern that's very clear in February. Hybrid profiles are gold. Australia isn't just short on workers. Australia isn't just experiencing a labor shortage, it's facing a shortage of people who can lead, coordinate, and take responsibility on the ground. It needs professionals who don't simply perform tasks, but who can oversee operations, manage standards, and ensure systems run smoothly. Think of electrical technicians who also supervise teams and manage site coordination. Mechanical fitters who understand compliance requirements and can handle documentation and reporting. Construction tradespeople who bring safety auditing knowledge alongside their technical skills. These are not just workers, they are stabilizers. They don't merely occupy a position, they reduce operational and regulatory risk for employers. And in today's immigration environment, lower risk makes a significant difference. It often translates into smoother employer nominations, fewer procedural delays, and a clearer pathway toward permanent residency. If you've ever assumed your role was too hands-on or too practical to stand out, this might be the moment to rethink that assumption. Practical capability combined with oversight responsibility is exactly what the system is prioritizing right now. Regional Australia, a strategic advantage. Let's speak frankly. February 2026 is reinforcing a reality many applicants overlook. Choosing regional Australia isn't a setback, it's a strategic move. Regional migration is not a penalty, it's leverage. Outside the major metropolitan centers, employers continue to receive faster attention. State nominations remain more accessible, and many in-demand occupations, particularly in infrastructure, utilities, healthcare support, and food production, are concentrated in these regions. For the right candidate, regional Australia isn't a compromise. It's an opportunity to move forward faster. Employers outside major cities are still getting attention faster. State nominations are still easier to justify regionally, and occupations tied to utilities, transport, healthcare support, and food production are heavily concentrated outside capitals. Some roles benefiting quietly right now include agricultural machinery technicians, food safety and quality officers, and regional facilities managers. These are not move to Sydney and hope jobs. These are come help us function jobs, and immigration treats them accordingly. The admin jobs that are secretly powerful. Here's a curveball most people miss. Administrative roles tied to regulated industries are doing surprisingly well. Think healthcare coordinators, healthcare compliance officers, training and assessment coordinators, and workplace safety administrators. Australia isn't just short on service providers, it's drowning in regulation. Anyone who understands systems, reporting, audits, and standards instantly becomes valuable. Australia isn't shopping for hype this year, it's shopping for stability. If this gave you a different way of looking at the system, drop your occupation in the comments. I read them, and yes, some of them are genuinely surprising. I'll catch you in the next one.